Good morning, everybody. It is day 10 out here on our section hike from Front Royal to Pine Grove Furnace. It's a halfway point on the trail. There's only two people in front of me because Deb called it quits yesterday and went home. So we are down to three. I think we've got a little over 12 miles to do today. I can't remember exactly. I'll double check. Water is going to be an issue today to some degree. At some point, we're going to have to do a water carry either a mile from the trail to get to our last shelter, or after we get to the shelter, do a 1 mile round trip with a 300 feet up and 300 feet down. That would be steep. Probably going to do the water carry. Tomorrow, we've got a shorter day. I think it's a 9-mile day to get into Sulis at the Sunflower Cottage Hostel. Looking forward to seeing my friend Sula. She was looking forward to seeing Deb. Now she knows that Deb's gone home, so she was pretty disappointed, as are we. But as I always say, it is what it is. We started out this morning pretty early, 7:20. I think that's our earliest start ever. And we're seeing a lot of day hikers coming back from what they call Annapolis Rock. I think a lot of people came up here hoping to see a sunrise. No sunrise today. All right, I'll put this down for a second. There's somebody coming. Good morning. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people came up here to see a sunrise. No. It's overcast. We expected to get thunderstorms last night. We heard them all around us. We got a couple of sprinkles, but no rain. We're hoping that the rain... we're hoping that the rain hit some of these water sources. And that's Annapolis Rocks. We don't need water, obviously. We just left camp. There was a good spring down there. That shelter we stayed at. Shelter was okay, had good water. The privy, oh no. The privy was no bueno. It leaned backwards, and it was very cramped quarters. You hardly had room to stand up and turn around to pull your pants up, and they had a big, long metal rod for the locking mechanism that stuck straight out, which I hammered my head against. Not a good setup at all. And like I said, it leaned back. I mean, it had quite an angle on it. I felt like I was back on a submarine, taking a crap, doing angles and dangles. Not fun. Not fun. All right, these girls are taking off, leaving me behind, so I'm going to put this down and kick it in gear. We've come right around 5 miles. The terrain has not been too difficult so far. Little ups, little downs. Our biggest up was coming out of the shelter. The first probably half a mile to a mile. And it's going to be like that most of the day. I think we've got about 2.5, 3 miles of ground that's going to look like this. And then we hit a couple of big hills to the end of the day. But we're rolling pretty good. We were doing First hour we did 2.7 miles, so that's pretty good. If we keep that pace, which we won't, but if we could keep that pace, we'd be done by 1 o'clock. Definitely getting into heavier rocks. Not horrible right now, but you get into sections where they bump up to the level of dam rocks. Yeah, like this. Dam rocks. All right, I'm gonna put this phone down. Use my trekking poles, get through this mess, catch up to the girls. Lifeline. I thought I was filming the last 10 minutes through a huge boulder field, and I was not. You missed the good stuff. Hopefully. Yeah. I can't believe I did that. I thought I was videotaping for the last 10 minutes through a really good boulder session. And I looked down at my phone and it was blank. I forgot to hit the record button. What a dummy. All right, I need to put a move on, catch up to these ladies up here. But I need to do it safely. All right, I can move now. This is not quite so bad. Rock hop through this stuff. Yeah, Lifeline, I'm sorry. I missed a good section for you. But I'm sure we'll hit another. It's windy. It's still 50 degrees. Sweating. I think we've come somewhere around 6 miles now. And this boulder field, this rock field, it just keeps going and going and going and going. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Whoa. I see people running toward me, so I'm going to put this camera down. All right, look at these fools running through this crap. Now, I'll get it through here. All right, let's try this again. Yes, people run through this stuff. I think they're crazy. I told them I think they're crazy, and they just laughed and kept running. It's, different strokes for different folks. Big wobblers, big wobblers. All right. I'm thinking, since we're coming off this ridge line, it's going to get a little bit better. But I need trekking poles here to be safe, so. Okay, let's have some fun. This is steep climb, but very short climb. One step at a time. One step at a time. Almost there. Yep. Shouldn't be too much further anyways. Okay, we're at the top, but we still have rocks to go through. Damn rocks. Oh yeah, get over the top of this mountain and the wind is huffing and puffing. All right, let me put this away. I can go uphill. It's hard to go downhill. All right, we have come 9 miles. I can tell because my feet are hurting. This is when they hurt the worst, 9 miles. We're through the easier part of the day. Just came up the first big climb, and it wasn't huge. It wasn't long, but we got 4 or 5 bumps up before we get to the last climb of the day, which will be a big one, a bigger one. What's going to make that one hard is we're going to have to do a water carry for almost a mile. The only good thing right now is that I have just one more breakfast, one more lunch, and one more supper. So the food bag's almost empty. But still, putting another 5 pounds on your back going up a steep hill is just not going to be fun. But we'll get through it. We'll get it done. All right, well, I got this little slight downhill, decent trail. Put this phone away. Try to catch up with the ladies. Well, maybe not. You know, a lot of day hikers out here today. Yesterday and today. Lots and lots of day hikers. A lot of people have dogs out here, not on a leash. And the dogs we've met in the last day or so have not been the vicious kind of dogs. I mean, a beagle and, you know, little bitty dogs. But I don't worry about me with dogs like that. What I worry about is those dogs. Because if they run up against a pit bull out here that's not on a leash, they're going to get chewed up. And that ain't cool. So, I guess you do it at your own risk. But as I've said before, the people that piss me off are the ones that, with the big dogs that can get aggressive and they come after you to a certain degree. And you got to fight. They're prepared to fight. All right, put this way for now. So we did our 13.4 miles today, and look what we got to. This shelter is loaded with Boy Scouts. It's just loaded. the main rain held off until we got here. We got sprinkled on a little bit on our way up the last hill, but we're lucky we did a water carry because the spring for the shelter is a half a mile away, and it's way downhill. And they have got these Boy Scouts walking down to get water. Crazy. Yeah, we have our water with us, but Abby and I are staying in the shelter tonight. We're in the upper deck up there. And Navigator, she's got her hammock out there. She's fine with that. But I didn't want to put my tent up in the rain. I didn't want to do it. So we've got our stuff laid out, but it's cold. It's a cold rain. It's supposed to get down to about 43 degrees tonight. And yeah, it's going to be nippy. Tomorrow, short day. I think we've got just a little over, I think it's 7.6 miles to get into where Sula's going to pick us up at the Sunflower Cottage Hostel. Looking forward to it. All right, I think that's it for the night.